Have you ever imagined walking through the streets of one of the largest cities in the world and without realizing it, literally standing over a lake? That's right. Beneath the feet of millions of people lies an ancient lake that continues to shape the destiny of this metropolis. But how is it possible for a city of this size to have been built in such an unlikely place? And even more intriguing, how does it manage to stay standing while slowly sinking? Yes, you heard that correctly. This city is sinking, and in some areas, the ground is giving way at an astonishing rate. What makes it even more fascinating are the hidden stories behind its streets, floods that turn avenues into canals, tilted buildings that defy the laws of physics, and engineering solutions that seem straight out of a science fiction movie. And yet, millions of people continue living there as if nothing is happening. Hi, I'm Brandon DeLong, and today on Uncoverist, we're diving into the incredible mystery of the city built over a lake. You'll discover how geography, science, and human ingenuity came together to keep this metropolis standing despite all the challenges. Before we begin, don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe to the channel to follow more fascinating stories like this one. And now, get ready for a journey full of curiosities, surprises, and secrets. Welcome to the city that shouldn't exist. Welcome to Mexico City, one of the largest metropolises in the world. But what few people know is that this vibrant, modern city hides an almost unbelievable secret. It was built on what was once a vast lake, Lake Texcoco. Beneath the bustling streets, towering skyscrapers, and millions of residents lies this ancient lake that, even though it was drained centuries ago, continues to shape the city's destiny. What's even more astonishing is that despite centuries of urbanization, the lake has never completely disappeared. It remains hidden in the form of a water-saturated, unstable soil that challenges the city's very foundations. Buildings that should be solid and immovable are slowly tilting, while some areas are sinking at an alarming rate of up to 25 centimeters per year. Did you know that in some places, the ground is so soft that historic buildings had to be lifted using modern engineering to prevent them from vanishing into the earth? Imagine an entire city trying to balance itself like a boat on an invisible sea. And that's not all. This peculiar situation creates unexpected effects as well. For instance, have you ever noticed how some streets seem to form small waves after heavy rain? This happens because the waterlogged soil reacts like a giant sponge, sinking and swelling under the weight of the water. All of this raises a fascinating question. How has this city managed to survive so far, despite its treacherous foundations? In the next chapter, we'll dive into the creative solutions and innovations keeping this metropolis standing. And before we move on, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. After all, who would have thought that a modern city could hold so many mysteries beneath its feet? Mexico City, despite its peculiar location, is an impressive example of human ingenuity. Since its foundation, adaptation has always been the key to survival in this challenging environment. But today, what keeps this massive metropolis standing? One of the most fascinating solutions is the use of modern technologies to deal with the unstable ground. For example, many of the city's historic buildings have been literally lifted from the ground using hydraulic jacks and reinforced foundations. This technique allows buildings that were once dangerously tilted to be stabilized. In addition, to tackle the water crisis, the city is heavily investing in rainwater harvesting projects. Amazingly, one of the biggest challenges is not just the lack of water, but also how to drain the excess during the rainy season, as the lake's natural drainage system no longer exists. Another impressive example is the deep drainage tunnels. These tunnels, cutting through the city's underground, aim to prevent catastrophic flooding. But the most curious thing is that even with these modern infrastructures, there are still areas where streets become completely flooded after a storm. And of course, there are the canals that have stood the test of time, like those of Xochimilco. These canals are a remnant of the old lake and today serve as a connection to the past, as well as being an important tourist and environmental attraction. But are all these solutions enough? With the ground continuing to sink in some areas and climate change bringing new challenges, Mexico City still faces a constant battle. Speaking of which, did you know that some streets have sunk so much they've had to be completely rebuilt? When you think of a modern city like Mexico City, you probably imagine bustling streets, tall buildings, and impressive infrastructure. But what many don't know is that due to the unstable soil, this metropolis hides phenomena that seem straight out of a surreal movie. For instance, some of the city streets create visible undulations that look like frozen waves in the asphalt. This happens because the clay-rich soil is extremely pliable and reacts to any change in weight or pressure. These ripples not only hinder traffic, but also give the feeling that the city is alive, constantly moving. Another impressive phenomenon is the leaning buildings. In some areas, entire buildings are tilting to the side, as if they were pieces of a domino game about to fall. A famous example is the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe, whose tilt is so noticeable that engineering work was necessary to prevent its collapse. And of course, there are the bizarre floods. During the rainy season, it's not uncommon for entire streets to turn into temporary canals. This creates unusual situations, like cars being floated by the water, and residents needing to improvise boats or walk with water up to their waists. But not everything is a problem. The city also holds fascinating curiosities that connect the past to the present, such as the floating gardens of Xochimilco. These canals, remnants of the ancient Lake Texcoco, are a vivid reminder of how the Aztecs transformed an aquatic landscape into something productive and beautiful. These phenomena show us that Mexico City is not just an example of survival, but also a place where the extraordinary becomes part of daily life. But this raises a question. With so many challenges and peculiarities, can a city continue to exist this way? In the next chapter, we will explore the future of Mexico City and the initiatives being developed to ensure it stays standing despite all the obstacles. With so many unique challenges, Mexico City not only endures but continues to reinvent itself. However, the future of this metropolis depends on how it confronts the difficulties posed by its geography and climate change. One of the most promising initiatives lies in soil engineering. Scientists and engineers are developing methods to reinforce the ground beneath the city's most vulnerable buildings, employing techniques such as injecting stabilizing materials into the soil and constantly monitoring critical areas. It's as if the city is in a perpetual battle against gravity, fighting not to disappear into the ground that supports it. Another innovative project focuses on water management. The city, which faces both water scarcity and devastating floods, is investing in rainwater harvesting systems and more efficient storm management infrastructure. A fascinating idea involves transforming old channels of Lake Texcoco into water retention areas, creating a balance between environmental preservation and urban functionality. But the true strength of Mexico City lies in its people. Despite the challenges, the residents are incredibly resilient. They embrace the history and uniqueness of their city, turning its problems into opportunities for adaptation and creativity. The local culture, marked by vibrant traditions and a unique sense of community, serves as a reminder that the city is more than just concrete and infrastructure. It is alive. The future of Mexico City is far from guaranteed. The ground continues to sink, the climate presents new challenges, and solutions must be constantly updated. Yet perhaps it's this ongoing struggle against adversity that makes this city so special. And now, the final question arises. Will Mexico City withstand the test of centuries to come, or will it require a complete reinvention? If this story surprised you, share this video with your friends and leave a like. And, of course, subscribe to the channel for more fascinating explorations like this. Here on Uncoverist, every place has a unique story that teaches us something about the world and about ourselves.